Yeah.
How's it going, everyone? This is EK1 Gaming here, and today we're going to be going through the new and up and coming changes to Division 2. Now, let me tell you from the start, these changes are not coming in the next update in February. However, they have said they will be coming in an update after that. They haven't given an exact date yet, but the guess is kind of mid 2020, so we're probably looking around summertime, but that of course is just a guess. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the new gear game. Now, by this we mean what the problems are and what they're going to do about it. Now, as you can see on the screen, there's some problems that Ubisoft Massive have noted. And their problems are, it's too rare to get the usable things, which is true. You know, we've all been there. We've been grinding for gear and you just don't get the good stuff. It's hard to understand. It's hard to sort of get a grasp on how the builds work and how the gear works. You have to keep too many things. Everybody's been crying out, of course, for more space in the stash, which they gave us at one point, so maybe we're just a little bit more of that. No satisfaction in god rolls, because you don't really need to god roll anything, because, you know, same as the one-tap shotguns, it's just quite easy just to not god roll. And there's too many hybrid builds, and that just means basically there's builds there with maximum firearms and also maximum armor, so it's kind of hybrid, but there's too much of that going on. So with that said, what they are doing about it is they're bringing up a new package. So in this package, they're going to reboot all of the gear. They're bringing in new items. That's new gear, new stats, new talents, everything. So that's going to be really exciting news, for especially for people who have been playing the game for a while. So it's something fresh for us to get our teeth into. There's also going to be new things to play, which means that there's going to be more content coming out. Again, like I say, this is not February. This is going to be later on in the year. There's going to be a new power cap, so it's going to go over 500. We don't know exactly how far over yet, because that will be up for discussion. And also the old gear will be converted to tally up basically to the new gear and new loot that's coming out. So as you guys may have seen on the screen, it looked quite different, the gear stats and piece that I just showed you to the right hand side. You may be wondering what that is. So now we're going to take a look at the core attributes, and we're going to go into a bit more depth on how the actual gear pieces are going to work. So now what we're going to look at is the core attributes and how they've changed in the update. Now, what I personally like is a core attribute now can be either weapon damage, skill tier, or armor. Now, a skill tier is basically just like skill power, etc. So now what they've done is made it where you can't spec, say, into weapon damage and have loads of armor. So you can't be that tanky DPS build anymore. Which in my opinion is probably really good to change, and it's really good for gameplay, especially in the dark zone. So now these gear and core attributes will be determined by brand. You can fully recalibrate gear still. However, it still is one recalibration per gear. So the way it seems when it's on the screen here is if you can be fully recalibrated, as if you can recalibrate each item. However, you can't. You can only do one item on each piece of gear. Now, the core attributes will never be available as standard attributes, as you can see just below. So the standard attributes are your critical hit chance, critical hit damage, skill haste, health, etc. Your core attributes will only ever be weapon damage, skill, or armor. So there's no mix up. The build now will have to be aimed towards what you want to spec into. So you'll have to really build your builds around your attributes. So if you want a DPS build, you'll just go into DPS and then have some minor attributes, sort of health, etc. Or you might have some talents that give you a bit of armor. However, you won't be able to stack stacks and stacks and stacks of armor and weapon damage. So now staying on the subject of sort of attributes and gear pieces, you may have noticed that under each attribute there was a bar, a red bar for offensive, a blue bar for defensive, etc. So what that represents is how good a piece or how good an attribute that is. Now if that bar is full, that equals a God roll piece. So as you can see on this picture now, you'll see how it's got like an orange kind of light behind it and the bar is full. So what happens then? It means just that attribute is God roll. Now you'll also be able to tell God roll pieces without actually clicking into them. So the picture now you'll see on screen is a picture of some gear. You'll see the orange glow behind the attributes, so behind the red dots or the blue dots, indicating that you have some of it that is God roll. Of course, if it's all orange, you've got a full God roll armor or a full God roll piece of gear. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the talents and kind of see how they're going to work, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit of what I believe or how I believe they're going to work. So the first thing you're going to notice is it says now increase the total weapon damage by 10%. Now, to put that in perspective, this is where it comes in, it amplifies your stats. So if you have offensive mod slots on your gear, it's now also going to increase those by 10%. So it's going to increase your total by 10%. Whereas before it would just be your, say, your weapon damage that's on your stats. However, now it'll be your mods, everything's going to get 10%, which will mean fewer active talents, but they'll be more powerful. So you won't be able to stack talents like you can now, but they'll be more powerful when you do use them. There's also going to be no requirements to activate talents, which again is a really good thing to have. There's going to be build defining talents, which means basically, I keep going on, like you can't have armor and DPS at the same time. So if you're a glass cannon, there'll be talents that will link in with glass cannon, and there'll be some really powerful combinations. So in terms of mentioning glass cannon, this brings me to my next part. Now there was one gear piece in Division 1 that I absolutely loved, and it's kind of making a return, so I'm really happy about this, and that is the Reckless chest piece. Yeah boy! So that means it's coming back, but it's called something different. It's called Glass Cannon. Now this chest piece is going to be similar to the Reckless. It's going to offer you 25% more damage, but you're going to take 50% more incoming damage. So builds are really going to be sort of glass cannon builds, especially where I like to play is a lot of DPS, a lot of weapon damage. It's going to really bring out these builds and really kind of make people combat them builds with like armor builds, skill builds, etc. So it's really exciting to see that they're actually working on talents such as this to try and bring them back, but just revive them a little bit and make them a bit more fresh. Now, in terms of recalibration and skill power changes, they didn't speak about that in today's State of the Game. They said they will bring that next week and go more into depth with that. So I'll do a video on those sort of changes as well after the next State of Game. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Do not forget to hit that like button if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, hit that dislike button, but please let us know in the comment section below why you didn't like it, and we can answer the comments and we can work on building better content. So guys, thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.